We're in a culture that's $1 billion business, but we create millionaires. So I talk to a lot of guys that I know that got a lot of big contracts, and the financial advisors running everything. And it's like, when basketball over, and you can't play basketball anymore, and you haven't put anything into learning financial literacy, where do you go from there? You go back to the hood. They take everything, they steal everything that you have. We're not thinking ownership. You got somebody writing your checks. Even though there's good financial advisors out there, but most of them, and at the end of these guys' careers, it's the same story. What happened to my money? I come from independence. I come from owning product. That's the way I was able to be who I am. And as I grow and mature, I'm thinking, like, what if a LeBron owned the Cavs? How much money he would be making? Own Nike. It's good Nike gave him $1 billion shoe deal, lifetime deal, but how much money are they gonna make off of him? What happens when we actually own the product? When you look at all the big brands, from Apple TV to Apple Music, these guys are taking over the industry. And we gotta go to them to sell them our product and to get a small piece. But we are not creating brands on our own. And I think that's where I plan to change the game. I wanted to be more of us, more minorities, having the opportunity to cash out on what we do every day. If you're a businessman, an entrepreneur, you gotta find a problem. So I found a problem. Record stores are closing, but video game stores are opening, and that's when it hit to me. I'm like, I need to be in a video game business. I put my life, my passion, the same way I did into the music, I put into the video game, and I'm mostly like probably the only person that looked like me, come from our culture, that's a part of this in Silicon Valley. What I learned in business, just like what she was saying, when you give somebody your word is so important. Once I gave her my word, I had to come, even though I got a million other things I got to do. I said, well, I gave her my word. And that's going to go a long way with you in business. Once you give somebody your word, it's good to get it in writing, everything that you need to get done. But when you give somebody your word, you got to stand by it. Because when you start standing by your word, you'll be able to build more relationships and resources. You know what? If you're going to get into something, you got to be prepared, and you got to do something big. Mm-hmm. And you got to, I feel like this Power record with me and Lil Wayne is definitely a statement record, but it's just real, it's timing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell you all the time, I ain't on my time, we on God's time.
Absolutely.
So how LeBron James or one of them feel when they're in the gym, you got to go practice, work on your jump shot,
right.
Work on your game. I feel like artists now need to spend that time in the studio than just partying all day. My whole life is about helping the kids, helping other kids, letting them look at my life through a blueprint. You can't just make it in the music business. I want to show people that you gotta have a couple of things going. Because when that thing ran out, something else might open up. The film, the TV opened up for me, all the clothing. The music business is not the same no more.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's about the marketing, it's about the endorsement deals. So you got to get hot in something to get those.
You do.
So, I think in this game now, what I know how to do best is about being independent. So if you're independent and you can make moves the way you want to make it, you're going to be successful. Now down the line, you meet somebody, you might see them again. And they're going to remember you. You build those relationships. I did the same thing with Warren Buffett. Didn't know he was Warren Buffett. Guys, I'm sitting in the room with Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm thinking, these are the guys. And he told me, said, man, look, this old guy over here, he makes $1 million just touching a computer. And I've been talking to this guy the whole time. And I'm like, wow, you never know who you might be sitting next to or who you might meet. So when you get into a room, you got to take advantage of networking, just having an open conversation, meeting somebody, telling them your name, telling them where you're from, telling them what business you're in, tell them whatever you're involved in. Because that person might know somebody, say, hey, you into Okay, I could hook you up with, then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is my guy from over here. That's what building relationships is about, the networking. And that's the first part of business, being an entrepreneur. Because you might not have the money to start the business, even though you're an entrepreneur, you got the idea. That's how people say they started a business with no money. They had the idea, but then they went to somebody and networked with the person that had the money. Right now, through the power of the internet right now, I don't think we should have to sit back and wait. It's about creating the opportunity. Don't wait for opportunity. Right now, the internet is so strong. I mean, you look at it, this is what Chuck said, look at a guy like Soulja Boy just came up through the internet. So you're not sitting back waiting, even though people laugh at Soulja, think, oh man, his music's soft or whatever, but this guy created his own avenue. But just like Chuck said, he also had to go sell out to take it to a big picture. Now my thing is, sometimes you got to look at in life how far you want to go. And my thing is independence. I thought that this was an avenue that I was able to open up and create and still be able to empower our own people in the community. So I just think that we have to figure out how far we want to go. And before I got that deal, I turned down $1 million deal with Jimmy Iovine.
Oh, so, yeah, Jimmy
Iovine offered me $1 million. And I'm in the project, I had like $500 in my pocket.
Okay.
So I went to see him, and my brother was with me, my brother C. He was like, man, take the $1 million, we're gonna be rich and go take over the project. I said, nah, man, I ain't taking over no project. When I get this $1 million, I'm gone, I'm out of this. I don't even wanna see no more projects. I need to be gone. So I sit in the office, I had to check, but I read the paperwork. So artists that's watching this, you need to read the paperwork. By me going to college, I was like, to my mind, I'm thinking, this is the Michael Jordan deal, because Michael Jordan got $1 million from Nike.
Yeah.
He would have been a billionaire. People don't know that. Yeah. But they gave him maybe like 3% or 5% or something like that. So I was like, I can't do this deal because I won't own my name no more. None of this stuff. So I told him, I said, Mr. Iovine, I'm gonna get some lunch, I'll be back. So he was like, man, if you don't come back, you'll never get a deal in this town. I get back on the plane, I'm on Southwest. Start eating them peanuts. I start thinking about that $1 million. I said, man, look, the people, you want any more peanuts? Me and my brother, man, we about to fight. He was like, man, why would you not take the $1 million knowing that we don't have no money? So he asked me, say, how much money you got in your pocket? I said, I got $500. He said, you got $500, you turn out $1 million. I said, but before we start tripping on each other, if that white man offered me $1 million, how much you think I'm worth? Gotta be worth 10, 15, 20, something.
Yeah.
You know? That's when he left me alone. It was a long ride back to New Orleans,
yeah.
but that's sometimes you gotta take chances on yourself. I think, a lot of people, they say they hustlers, they say they're from the streets, but why is somebody else putting your music out if you really on the street? These records I'm hearing how you trapping and how you doing all this.
Right.
You should be able to put your own music up.
Right.
You don't need nobody to put your music up.
Right,
because we was out there, we changed our life, but we put our own music up.
Right.
We did our own thing. I like to win. I love to win. And people that love to win, they're gonna be successful. But it's okay losing sometimes. You might not win all the time, because you always say tomorrow. I lost today, but tomorrow I'm gonna make up for it. So be prepared to take losses in business. Be an entrepreneur. So that's the thing about it. But that one win, take away all the pain if you're an entrepreneur and you own your own business and you run your business.